Hey there. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to all the people. You guys were so very kind. I was not looking for sympathy on that post last night for that video, but everybody was so nice. I got so many phone calls and just texts and Facebook messages, and it was so incredibly supportive. Okay, so this morning we're doing sketchy stuff again because that's what we do. We got some of the way up here. It's very slow going. We also got some of that gable with OSB. Then what happened? We ran out of material because I haven't looked at material in a minute, and it's my own stupid fault. So I'm gonna go to the store and get some more. I think I've talked about this before, but sometimes in life, you're waiting, right? You're waiting for somebody to come and save you. Like, I just wish this person would come and save me, or like save the day, or the government's gonna come help me, or whatever in the world. And here's my suggestion to you. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna have to become the hero you're looking for. You're gonna have to man up. You're gonna have to start doing some stuff on your own. You're gonna have to like realize that, hey, this problem that's in front of me is not gonna go away on its own. I have to actually solve this problem. I have to put in the work to solve this problem because there's probably a lesson in it for you, okay? And I feel like not enough people talk about this, that when you have pain, there's a reason for your pain. So learn your lesson, because there's a lesson in that pain. And if you waste it, you're gonna have to get that pain back again and again. It's gonna be magnified each time until you finally learn your lesson. So learn your lesson, use your pain, become the hero you're looking for. Love you guys. Oh, hey there. So first of all, we found these thorns. Look at how long these are and pointy, uncomfortable. It made me think, my king wore a crown made out of these. Anyway, we've been doing some sketchy stuff. As you can see, we've got scaffolding up 3 scaffolds high, and we've got scaffolding that goes over onto the roof. And we've got ladders up on that. And then we got another ladder on the other side, and we're reaching around. And then, yeah, but we did a lot. What seems like a lot. It's a lot of complicated stuff. And then we built that chimney all the way up, and that makes me very happy. So I knew a lady. So let me just rewind here. When I was 16, I got saved. And I moved up to Washington State and built a log cabin. That was my first house. I was 17. It was 1990, and you guys can do the math on that. I'm 48. Okay. So I met a lady up in Republic, Washington, and she was the first person I know, or that I'd met, and I think I've talked about her before, Phyllis Mason, that she believed everything that she owned was God's. She was just a steward of what God gave her. So her house was God's, her car was God's, her money was God's, everything was God's. And she was very, very generous and really supported so many people, which is a beautiful thing. And she was a single mom with 2 kids and made $7.50 an hour. But if you needed a place to stay, at her house, if you needed a meal, she'd cook it for you. Like, just happy to give. It was just a blessing to everybody. And when I met her, I was like, I want to be more like that. I want to be like that person. One of her favorite verses in the Bible was Romans 8:28. And in case you don't know it, it says, "For we know that all things work together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purpose." And she would emphasize all things, even the bad things, even the things that you look and go, God's going to bring good out of that. And you're like, yep, he is. God's going to bring good out of this bad situation. You watch. And time has passed. How long has it been? 31, almost 32 years since I heard that. And I got to be honest with you, he has come through every single time. Every time I look and I'm like, this bad thing. And I at first I would like wait till it already happened and I'd be mad about it. And then, you know, things would get good. I'd look back and go, you know what? Because that bad thing happened, then this thing happened, and it made me better, and it worked out for my good. But then after a while, I'd be like, you know what? I know before the bad thing happens, I know it's going to work out for the good. And so I'm trusting God now, and I'm going to praise God now, because when this bad thing is over, it will be better. Somehow it will be better. I don't understand how. I don't understand why. But all things work together for the good. And so I'm grateful for that. And that has been very comforting to me through the decades of my life, and I hope it is for you too. So we're gonna get back up on the scaffolding, do some sketchy stuff. If I survive, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye. Oh, hey, so I'm just reminiscing. Today marks 20 days. At the end of the day today, we'll have been working on this for 20 days since we poured concrete. And I just wanted you guys to see, like, this is what we built it off of. So Mike came over to my house, was like, hey, I kind of want these things. And I'm like, all right, so I drew this up on the computer. But hold on, there's a second floor too. And then, you know, we did this, and that's kind of the plans and stuff. So things got modified, but whatever. But yeah, we took this out and measured it all out and said, let's make a house. And now look, 20 days later, it's a house. How cool is that? So, that's done. I want to talk to you guys about this. In the Bible, Jesus says, he gives a parable about the sower and the seed, okay? And I'm going to tell you the parable. So, a man goes out to sow his seed, and we're not agricultural, so we don't understand this, but basically imagine a bunch of seeds, and you just take it and generously sow your seed out, just all across whatever the field is, in the hopes that some of that will take root and that you'll have a crop that year, right? Good fruit, something that you can eat or sell. Okay, so this sower goes out to sow, and he sows the seed, and then some of it falls on rocky places, and the birds come and eat it up. That seed obviously is not going to grow. That seed is dead. I mean, as far as we're concerned. The birds said thank you, but then some of it falls on rocky ground, and it sprouts right up, and you're like, oh, this has potential. But then bad things come. The sun comes and scorches it, and it just doesn't have enough good soil to take root, and it dies quickly. It withers. And then some of it falls on thorny ground, okay? And the thorny ground, this is what we're going to focus on in a minute, it comes and chokes out the life because the thorns are around it, and so the life starts popping up, and the thorns are like, nope, and it chokes out that life. And some of the seed falls on good ground, and it grows 30, 60, or 100 times as much fruit, right? And so, you know, the disciples were all like, what does that mean? We don't understand what you're talking. What are you saying, right? I said, the person that goes out and spreads the gospel, okay? So pastors, evangelists, Christians in general, really there's the priesthood of all believers, which means all of us, so myself included. I try to share the gospel every chance I get because it's good news. Because the good news is that we can be saved. The good news is that there's mercy for us, okay? And so we sow the seed, we share it generously with everybody, like, please, you know, if you need this, I will point you, I am a human arrow pointing you to heaven. Please, please get it right. Some of it falls by the wayside and be like, meh, and there's nothing, right? Now maybe, hopefully, later somebody else sows some more seed and they go, huh, I've seen this before. And hopefully they take root. I hope with all my soul. I want nothing more. Like, I wouldn't want my worst enemy to go to hell. Anyway, some falls on rocky ground. And this is where trials and things come up, and we're like, you know what? If God's like this, if this is what it's like to be a Christian, I'm out, right? And a lot of people do this. A lot of people stop at this point, and I'm like, don't, man, like, push through, because life is going to be hard no matter what, but push on through. But they don't. They die. They're like, I'm out. Hopefully time passes and they get it right somehow. I don't know what. God brings pain. God brings sorrow. He brings torment to you. And you think, God brings that? Yes, because that helps you to repent. God brings bad things in your life. All through Revelation it talks about, you know, these plagues happen on humanity, and there was boils, and the sun didn't shine, and the moon turned to blood, and on and on and on and on. And then it says, after all these plagues came, that despite all this, the people still did not repent. In other words, this was God saying, please repent, this is your last chance. So when you have bad things, please repent. Anyway, moving on. What I'm really trying to get to is the thorns, okay? So the stuff that falls along the thorny ground, it says, riches and cares of this world choke out the life. And I think it's interesting that riches are signified by thorns, that chokes out the life that's in you. And as a person who has had some money for a while, I can tell you it is very, very, very easy to fall into that trap of letting the money own you, of just chasing after money to no end. Like, you cannot be satisfied. And that is a sign of spiritual neglect. Having a lot of money is a sign of spiritual neglect. That means that you are letting the cares of this world and money choke out your life spiritually. And that should be like a warning for us, right? Like, hey man, I probably ought to maybe focus on something else. But then there's the good ground. And hopefully that's you. Hopefully God's word falls on your heart and you go, I want that. That identifies in my soul. I want to be that person. I want to be right with God, and I know I'm not. And then you get right with God, and then you follow him, and you like, I only understand this much. And he's like, that's all I need. And he takes you and guides you, and by the end of it, you're like, I am so happy. Thank you so much for making my life wonderful. So we're gonna do some more work. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon, all right? Whoever it is that's out here doing an Indian rain dance, please stop. We're trying to work. It's dangerous. And you know, pretty much every day I'm like, Danger, is that you? And he's like, John, you're still alive? I'm like, I know, right? But today he's like, today I'm wet. And I'm like, it's kind of weird. All right, so Mike, let's go inside. We're gonna teach you something, come on. Look, when life gives you AIDS, make lemonades, okay? So today we're gonna work inside for a minute. Now, these are attic stairs. These were not here a moment ago. You might be thinking to yourself, so the way to put attic stairs up is just sit there and hold it, and be like, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then they're screwing it. It's horrible. Don't do that. You're better than that. So what you do, there's gonna be sheetrock that's a 1/2 inch. So we put in some OSB here that's also a 1/2 inch, 7/16. Then we put this here to cradle it. Then we just put it up in there, and it just lays there. We put some screws in it. Super easy, right? I mean, was it easy? Yeah, pretty. I bet from home you guys didn't feel anything at all. That's my guess. All right, so I just want to say that it's important to be a peacemaker. The Beatitudes, Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers, for you'll have peace. And I want to give you an example of being a peacemaker, okay? Let's say that you hear something about somebody, and you could chime in and go, oh yeah, and I also heard this. I apologize. But instead, you say, but let's look at the good things about that person. And I know that they care about you, and on and on. And you end up, rather than spreading them farther apart, you help them to make restitution so that they're friends again. That's a peacemaker. Do that. All right, we're gonna get back to work. It's been 38 seconds, not like my normal 28 minutes. So we took the stuff off of here, and now when you pull this down, look at that. It works. And you might think, John, you're done. Incorrect. First of all, I had to put screws in everywhere structurally. That's important. We already did that. But then, when you open the stairs, you're going to notice something horrible. It doesn't work like this. This is wrong. What do? We measure it and then we cut it. I already marked it. So let's get a sawzall and cut these off, and we'll put these legs on there, and then they'll come straight down as nature intended, because you're better than that. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. So now we're ready to make this cut. I went down the ladder to get a sawzall blade, came right back. We're ready to make this cut. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First we just got to measure it. And
Look at that, like magic.
wait.
I took care of that.
You took it, well, I went down the ladder and came back up. You already did it?
I already did.
Bro.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mike knows some stuff. That's his new show. Mike knows some stuff.
Mike knows some stuff.
Oh, hey guys. So look, today we finally, at long last, have pretty much completed the siding. Now we've got a little bit at the top, the chimney up there to do. We got to do some soffit and a little couple touch-up things, and then we're gonna build a well house tomorrow, right? So I'm very excited about that. Now, a lot of you guys, somebody gives you some criticism and you take it to heart, you get all bothered by it, you think about it all night long, and you like wrestle with it, and you tell everybody like, that's not true, is it? Let me just ask you this. Would you take advice from them? Like if you said, hey, I was wondering about some good thing in my life, would you listen to their advice? My guess is probably not. So why in the world are you taking their criticism? In fact, I'm gonna take it a step farther. Why would you take constructive criticism from somebody who's never constructed anything? Doesn't make sense. Clearly we've constructed things, you can take my criticism, but I won't give it to you because I've got a firm policy on criticism. What is it? I'll tell you. If I don't have a solution to your problem and I'm not willing to help, I will not say anything. Allow me to demonstrate. Let's say that I see somebody, I'm like, ooh, I should tell them that they're wrong. First, I need to check. Do I have an actual solution to their problem? No? I'm done. Keep my mouth shut and move on with my life. What if I look and I go, ooh, they've got a problem. I can fix it. I know the solution. I'm like, but do I have time? Am I willing to do it? Nope. Shut my mouth. Move on with my life. If I'm like, ooh, I want to help, but I don't have a solution, shut my mouth and move on. Because if you don't do that, then you're just complaining and you're just being mean to people. And I don't like that. So I'm sure you notice the sun is still up. I'm pretty sunblind right now. Whoa, gosh, too much. Whoa. And yet we're packing up for the day. Why is that? Because my friend Jimmy Walden, who I love, that's the one, is playing a show tonight. You guys should come out there because music is the language of your soul. Think about that. It is. There are things that you cannot express in words that you express in music, and people go, I get that. Amen. You touch my soul. So come out. Come out. Get your soul touched. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Funneled.
Yeah, well, whatever. Potato, tomato. Hey there. So, while we were working outside, Tropic Heat and Air, Bob Cameron, Mike Cameron, were working inside, and their whole crew. And I love those guys. They're amazing, and they do great work, so call them up. But, so they got heat and air. We got 2 inside units up here, and then 1 inside unit just for their bedroom, because they want to make it nice and cold, which is cool. So there's, I think, a 3-ton, a 2-ton, and a mini split that are in this room. But they've got all their stuff up there. You can tell where the OSB is. We put in the attic stairs up there, which is wonderful. And then not all the ducts are run yet, but they're going to finish them tomorrow. We got return air ducts coming down in here, and it's going to heat and cool this whole place. And it's going to be spray foam, so that's going to be amazing, right? Mike, you got anything on your heart?
Tired.
Mike is tired. Okay, so I think you know the cure for that. And this is, a lot of people don't know this. Get some rest. Good morning, and welcome to yet another day on this job, 21st day. All right, so on the 21st day, look over here real quick. Oh yeah, we did some stuff over there, that's great. Come back up this way. So now, we're building a well house, okay? And I know what you're thinking, how's this work? We get a well, you gotta build a house around it. Well house, it makes sense when you think about it. It's a compound word. All right, so what happens is, we had a well company, not me personally, and they drilled a hole right here, 800 feet, 800 something feet, down into the ground. There's an aquifer. What is that? It's like an underground lake. And there's a second aquifer, a bigger, clearer, better underground lake. So they went all the way down to that. It's filled with water. Then it comes up here because there's a pump that's way down in there. And it pumps the water up, and it goes in this pressure tank. And the pressure tank puts a bunch of pressure on it so that you have water pressure. It's amazing. Then from there, you can see that we've got this hose in case you need to use it, which we do. And then eventually we're going to adapt this to this pipe that then goes underneath to the house, at which point their water bill from here on out will be 0. And the well was only $11 billion. So if they live to be 12 million and 62, they will have paid off what it would have cost just to have city water in the first place. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably sit there and look at lumber and you think to yourself, what are these? What are these things right here? What are these knots? What are they from? Drew, what do you think? You got nothing, right? Imagine that this was a tree, because it was. These are where the branches were. These are where the branches came out, right? That's what the knot holes are. So if it had a bunch of branches, it has a bunch of knots. Now, what is this stuff here? I used to work in a sawmill. This stuff is called Wayne, but what it is imagine this was a tree, and this is where the bark was. This is inexpensive lumber. That's why it still has that showing, instead of like, good grade lumber that you're like, oh, it's flawless, like this. It's perfect. Now, not everything in life is perfect. I think it's important to note this. People ask me a lot, because I travel a lot and I know a lot of people. They're like, who's your favorite person and what's your favorite place to travel to? And my answer is, every place has a beauty of its own. Even if you're like, that's ugly, you're like, there's still a lesson in that. There's still some beauty in that if you look. And if you do, you'll go, there it is, that's the beauty. It may not be where you want to live, but it's still, there's a certain beauty to it. And every person, even if you look at them, you're like, oh, you're repulsive to me. There's a beauty to that person that you're like, you know what? I see this. I see that there's a beauty to what you are and who you are, and there's a lesson in life for me. And sometimes when we get close to the unlovely things and the difficult things and the harder choice, that's where God's lessons are for us. Because if it was easy, if you're like, hey, you want to be rich? Everybody's like, yes. Hey, you want to go look at the beautiful person? You're like, yes. You want the easy life? Yes. You want to sit on the couch and do another thing all day? Yes. No lesson in life there. Hey, you want to do the hard thing? You're like, not really. You want to go be by the ugly, dirty, smelly people? You're like, not even a little bit. Like, that's where life's lessons are. That's where life's blessings are. Learn that. Do some hard stuff. It'll make you a better person. 14 minutes later. All right, so we got the roof framed up. We got the whole thing framed up. It's been really quick. All right, now I want to show you guys something that's about shear strength. So right now, everything is basically perpendicular to each other, right? So it's this way and then this way. So it's perpendicular. And when you have that, you look and you go, that seems pretty solid, right? Incorrect. Look what happens. You see the wobble? That's not good. That's not good. This isn't nailed yet. This is still sitting here. Okay? It wobbles a lot. How do you fix that? First of all, you can get a 45. That's a 45-degree angle for those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about. You put that on there, nail it, that'll lock it in. But you know what's better than a 45, Jimmy?
Shear strength.
Shear strength is correct. So if we were to take this piece of plywood and nail it all over, all of a sudden it locks into place because it can't go back and forth because this thing gives it strength. Allow me to demonstrate. Now, first of all, when you frame something up, there's no plywood on any of this, right? So it's all just like, I hope it's level, I don't know. But we nailed the bottom already, so we got something solid on the bottom. That's gonna not move. But this wall here can. So come on over here, Drew. What we wanna do is get this to where it's level so that that board is on the right, and it is. So. Now let's see what happens. Oh, it doesn't move anymore. Now once we do that all the way around, it's gonna magically be like tight, and that's what we want. It's also called wind bracing. Now, a lot of you probably have handicaps, and let me describe what I'm talking about, okay? Sometimes if I'm nailing, you probably notice like, man, he just got all those studs, which I did, and yes, thank you. I do this a lot. I've nailed probably, I keep track, 12,486,612 nails so far in my life, just with that gun. And I've had it for a week. All right, so sometimes I have a handicap. And Jimmy, you and I were talking about this earlier, I think the day before yesterday, that some people make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And you're like, bro, don't you want to get better? Don't you want to like not make the same dumb mistakes? Don't you want to like figure out like, hey, I'm off by this much and make the adjustment so that you're right? I do, because I don't like being wrong. It doesn't happen very often, but I still don't like it.
It stings.
Yeah, it hurts in my heart and my pride and my vanity just puffs right up. And I'm like, I'm not stupid, but I am. All right, so one of my many handicaps is that if I think, okay, here's the stud, and I'm gonna follow this line and it should be right. If I miss, by default, years ago, I was like, I'm probably 3/4 of an inch to the right. That's normal for me. And if I don't even look at it, I'm just like staring at the wall. I go, bang, missed it. And I pull out and go 3/4 of an inch to the left. I usually nail it. That's my handicap. So that's my adjustment. I have to adjust that. Now, that applies to other things in life too. Like when I drive, I get really angry. Like, why don't you hurry up? Why are you guys changing cars and vehicles and disguises and driving slow in front of me? You're messing up my life. But I found that if I just text and drive and look at Facebook while I'm driving, I don't get as mad. So that's how I adjusted for that. Hopefully you guys can figure out your handicap and adjust. We're gonna keep working. Oh, hey there. So, I've been using Tropic heat and air since 1995 for all my heat and air needs. You know why? Because you guys rock.
We're the best.
That's pretty much it. Okay, so, in case you can't read, what does it say? Tropic air. Oh, it's not heat and air. Tropic air. I'm sorry. And then what's the phone number? I can't read the words, but just, put those numbers in. Come closer, Drew. All right, so, so I know a lot of things. Come even closer. We gotta figure this out. I know a lot of things. Some things about a lot of things, but I don't know about heat and air so much.
Okay.
So tell me some stuff.
Well, probably one of the most common issues that we see or get calls about is people say that their air's not blowing. So we'll go out there and we go upstairs and their coil's all frozen up. And it gets like that because you're supposed to change your filters every 6 months. And if you don't, it gets all clogged up. And so air can't go through there.
And that's bad.
Oh, it's bad. It's real bad because the refrigerant just gets trapped in that coil, and the cold air just builds up and builds up. So eventually, you're just gonna have a block of ice sitting in your unit, and you're not gonna feel anything.
How do you fix that?
All you have to do is turn off your unit if it freezes up, and let it thaw out. And then the next day, change your filters as soon as you can. But
sure, yeah.
Next day, you just gotta let it thaw out, and then turn it on once all the ice is out.
And that's all. That fixes it. That fixes it. So what you're saying is that somebody could just simply change out an inexpensive filter that costs a few dollars, or call you guys to tell you just let it sit there and then change out your filter.
Be like, look, you're gonna be
$75.
75? Well, that's actually pretty cheap. I wouldn't come out to your house for $75. I'm a mean person. I'm like a $3 million minimum just to come look at it.
Hey, $3 million.
Your time is more valuable than ours.
Clearly, I have very, very valuable time. I've got so little of it left. I'm like, whatever the price, I'm short to this earth somehow. I don't know how short, but short, right? All right. So you got any other advice? I mean, that's really good advice. Now, does the human body have any filters?
The kidneys?
Kidneys, that's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
What else?
Some liver.
That's the only one I know of.
Your nose hairs,
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's
I
a
guess
good
that
filter. That's your
counts.
air filter, right? So that's
Sure.
kind of like your heat and air.
a little bit.
Yeah, because you're like, hey, I need this to breathe so I can have oxygen for my body. But you're like, you know what? I don't change my filter, so I just got this clogged up nose.
I think your whole body's kind of a heat exchanger.
It kind of is.
true.
Yeah, yeah. Like if it gets too hot, then what happens?
You
It's like,
cool
ooh.
down.
Yeah, by how?
Sweating.
Sweating. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's good. It's like there's some
You can
intelligent
pant like a
design.
dog.
Yeah. That's why dogs pant, because they can't sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why pigs roll in the mud, is because they can't sweat.
I didn't know pigs
Well,
can
that's why I
sweat.
do it too.
Yeah.
I can sweat.
Yeah.
Well, and you're just a pig.
It's just so comfortable to be around. Yeah, when people say I'm sweating like a pig, I'm like, so not at all, because pigs don't sweat. They just roll around in the mud.
Yeah, I never thought about that expression like that.
Bro, there's so many
something
things
the
I
other
know
day.
that are dumb. Anything else you want to give advice about heat and air?
Try to think of some good ones.
How about just common ones? Because most people are not going to do some complicated things. They're
Yeah.
pretty simple creatures.
Sure. Really just make sure you don't leave it on all the time because that gets expensive really quick.
Yeah. So just
And
turn it on
just,
every 3 hours for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That seems
Well,
really, really convenient.
If you have a thermostat and it has a schedule setting, go in and set your schedule because that'll save you a ton of money. If you know you and your spouse are going to be out of the house all day, no one's going to be home, there's no reason to be running your air. Or your
What if
heat.
you're single?
If you're single, then
Just
you're
run it all
probably
the
not
time.
spending as much money.
That's
so-
right, bro. Bro, it's almost nothing. It's like I don't even exist financially.
Man, to be single again. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding. Just
No, no. I'm so sorry. I made him say that. That's not him. That's not him.
No,
Okay.
but
That's very helpful advice. Yeah.
yeah, definitely use those settings because
Now, what about those Ecobees and the smart things? The smart.
I love
thermostats?
Ecobees. Are if you're wanting to get a smart thermostat, don't use Nest because their products are not great.
Yeah.
Very hard to set up. Very confusing.
Or you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, the Ecobee stats.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you want to get. Those.
That's what I got in my house.
Yeah, you have got the app on your phone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and You can
It's easy.
control everything. Just
From anywhere in the world, I can be like, what's my temperature upstairs? Let's change that. Let's just turn it off. From anywhere in the world, I could be like, I'm over here in Africa. I'm like, as long as I got Wi-Fi, I'm gonna check. Yep, I'm gonna turn that off.
yeah, super convenient. Because like I said, if you just forget to set it on a schedule and you have an Ecobee and you're like, oh snap, like it's running, it's blowing cold, it's gonna be cooling the house at 69, it's supposed to get 100 today, and you're not even gonna be home.
Yeah.
It's gonna be running all day long. So you can just shut it off, save you some money.
Bro, great advice. And you guys are fearless and great workers. I would
Thanks,
use you
sir.
for every single thing. In fact, I do. All right,
I
love you
like
again.
being here.
Yeah, well, because you're great. That's it. 12 minutes later. We got OSB up everywhere. It's amazing. Remember how it's super wobbly and then we put the shear strength on? We put one, it was like, oh, that's better. But now watch this. Let's get closer. Come on, Jimmy.
That is sturdy.
That's not going anywhere. That's pretty solid.
It'd take a truck to move that.
Well, yeah, probably maybe a really large truck. Or, I don't know, something big,
Tornado.
like a tornado truck. Yeah,
Tornado trucks are bad.
that sounds good.